Hello, my name is Andrew Dumar. I am an occupational therapist, and I'm here today to share with you some ways we can make coloring fun and different ways we can do coloring as an activity to make it more engaging and work on a lot more skills. You can follow me at my Instagram. I have it listed right here if you want some more activities and crafts. So let's get into it. The first one is we all know coloring can get boring. Your child doesn't want to do it, they're getting tired, and stuff like that. So let's make it more engaging. The first one that we could do is coloring on our tummy. So you hear growing up, and when you have a newborn, you want to promote tummy time. Tummy time, tummy time, tummy time. And as your child gets older and develops, you want to continue tummy time. Even as an adult, just being on your stomach and strengthening your back and your posture is so important. So that's what we want to continue to keep doing. So our working on our stomachs, you want to put a coloring piece of paper right in front of them, get their crayons, and you just want to have them lay down, put their elbows on the floor. You want to make sure you're encouraging to keep their head up straight. So even as a baby, you want to keep their head up and make sure it's not flopping over. So you're also working on endurance. So as you're laying, you want to make sure your arms are on the floor and they're not leaning all the way to one side, going back and forth. You want to keep them upright. This will help even if the first time you do it, they're falling over to the side. You just work on it, and then that will increase endurance. You're also working on promoting their shoulder strength. So your fine motor skills start to develop in more broad terms. So when you're first learning to color, you're making large movements. And then as you enter kindergarten, you're more refined. You're able to start coloring in the lines. Now you're beginning writing, things like that. So you want to strengthen your whole arm. The whole shoulder girdle is what strengthens. And as you're in tummy time with your elbows working on the ground, you're working on strengthening that because you're working so many muscles. The prone extension is what I was saying earlier. It was just keeping your head up. It's also the Superman pose. So that's super important. You're strengthening your neck muscles, your core muscles. You're also providing your body with all this different feedback. You're getting deep pressure from the floor. You're just working your sensory system, like your vestibular system, as you're moving your head through space. And that's one way that you can make coloring into a new activity just by laying on the floor. If you don't want to do coloring laying on the floor, do a puzzle. You're still working on the same muscles, but the importance is you're laying on the floor and engaging the whole body and getting the whole body moving. The next activity you could do with coloring is to tape a piece of paper, poster board, little paper, depends on your child and the skills. You can tape the paper right to the wall. I know walls are important. You might not want to damage them, or you don't want to encourage your child writing on them, but it's good if you use a big poster board and then put a little piece of paper right in the middle of it. But the importance is that you're still working on a vertical surface. So whether you're taping it to the wall, a door, just on your fridge, the importance is the vertical surface, so being upright. So again, we're going to be working on the shoulder girdle. The whole shoulder is going to be stronger. We're increasing our strength. You're also in this position, it's putting our wrist in extension. So now our wrist is working in optimal position, which is only going to benefit your child in terms of fine motor control, their dexterity for future pre-writing and writing skills. So we're strengthening the whole arm, and now specifically our wrist is going to get stronger as well. We also can get some more sensory feedback if your wall has some grooves on it. It might, as you're coloring, bumpies, just like as if you put a leaf under a piece of paper or a coin and you get those bumps, you could same as a wall. You can also work on the core strength. So now as we're working on a vertical surface, we're trying to work on our posture and keep our shoulders back, which is in turn is making our core strength a lot stronger. You can put a little therapy ball, a bouncy ball, have them sit on that, and now they're getting that movement, which means their core is working 10 times harder as they're working on this surface. Some other skills being worked on as we're working on a vertical surface would be bilateral coordination. So bilateral coordination is using two hands together. So you would want to encourage to have your child hold the paper with one hand, the non-dominant hand, and have them color with their dominant hand. So now we're using both hands together, we're stabilizing, and we're coloring. As your child gets tired, they're going to try to switch hands, but you always want to encourage that they are coloring with their dominant hand. If you see one, or at this time, just hand preference. Which one are they leaning more towards? Which one do they seem to be reaching for more items with, that's the one you would want to encourage them to use and hold the paper with the other one. Also, as you're holding with this hand, you take your dominant hand or the hand that's preferred at this time and just cross the body. Crossing the body is super important, so we want to color over here and color over here, color up top, but we're making sure that this hand is still holding the paper. We're not coloring over here, then switching the crayon to color over here. This is also great to work on spatial awareness. So if you're learning what's on top, what's on bottom, left, right, you can do this through coloring. As they're coloring over here, color on top of the paper. You can also add stickers and put them on the wall and have your child color that sticker or draw pictures and circle it. So whatever skill your child is on. So if you want, put a butterfly on top, and now we're working on visual motor, have your child search. Can you find the blue butterfly? Put a circle on it. The blue butterfly is at the top of the paper. So your child would want to try to search and look around the paper for the blue butterfly, see that it's on top, and circle it. So you're working on a wide variety of skills in turn with just coloring and working on the vertical surface. So now we're getting all systems moving, we're getting all skills being worked on, and it's really great for your child. So similar to coloring on the wall, the vertical surface, now we can try to change it up and do another activity of coloring that might be even more fun. You can make it almost like a cave. So what you would want to do is just find a coffee table, or if you have a little short table, end table at home, have them lay on their back and tape the piece of paper under the coffee table or the table. Obviously make sure it's sturdy and safe. So fair warning, you want it to be a safe environment for them. But if you have a sturdy table, you can tape the piece of paper up under it and have them lay on their back and now work on coloring from underneath. So again, we're still working on the shoulder movements, and the wrist is in the same neutral position to work and strengthen our muscles, but now you're laying on your back, and it makes the activity that much more fun because it's change up than just sitting at a table coloring. You're making it more fun. Change your environment. Make it almost like they're in a cave, or build a tent around what you're working on to get your child to be more engaged. They're working in the whole process, so it's not just a plain coloring worksheet. Now it's a whole new activity and something they've never done before. So as I've mentioned a few times, it seems like coloring, we really want our shoulders and body to be strong. So of course, yes, 100% we want all of our muscles to be strong, and it is so important to have strong muscles as our future and later skills develop. For fine motor skills, visual motor skills, we want our whole body strong, especially our arms that are going to be doing all the movement later on. So another way to work on these skills is through obstacle courses. Obstacle courses are super fun for your child as well as get your child engaged, but they are great for our body. So along the lines of tummy time, you also want to incorporate crawling. Crawling, again, works on getting all of our arms strengthening. We're moving. You're getting that deep pressure as you're pushing. And you're also, again, working on the head control. You have to change your body in space, looking up as you're crawling. You're changing your position. You're really working on all different body types. And through an obstacle course, it is great to get the whole body involved. So now all the muscles are working, and you can have your child involved in the whole process of building the obstacle course. You can make an end goal. So take a crayon, go through the whole obstacle course, color a picture. Grab a puzzle piece, go through the whole obstacle course, put the puzzle in the location. So now, again, you're working on coloring or doing a puzzle, but you're doing an obstacle course to get the whole body movement. So now the whole body is moving. Our whole arms, shoulders, core is working hard, and your child doesn't even realize they're getting in a great exercise in while doing a fun activity. So those were 3 activities that you could try at home to make coloring more engaging, more fun, and just spice up what you're doing with your child. And now I'm going to get into the developmental sequence. So what shapes your child should be drawing at what age. And again, these are just guidelines. Nothing is set in stone. It would depend on the skills of your child, what they're working on, where they are developmentally. So nothing is set in stone. These are just skills you could work on or try at home if you would like. So by 1 to 2 years old, your child would just be scribbling. They're doing the full movements, not necessarily grasping perfectly. Of course not at 1 to 2. They're probably still fisting. And you're just doing large strokes, scribbling all. And then as they start to hit 2, 2.5, you're working on the vertical lines at 2 and horizontal at 2.5. And these would be something that they could just practice tracing. Tracing starting at the top, going down, starting left, and going right. Just practicing tracing, and then you can, once they master tracing, that's when you can start to do the copying or the imitating. So the copying would be like, first you make one, then they make one. You make one, they make one. Or imitating would be you make one on your paper, they make one on their own paper. So tracing, copying, imitating. And then by 3 years old, you would want them to start working on circles. So I like to use circles, go around and stop, around and stop. Those are different ways that I use as cues. And again, you could practice tracing circles. Circles also can form the head of a body. So if you're working on just drawing people, you could just say circle makes the head. Different like that. 3.5 and to 4, you're going to start doing the cross. So now you're starting to take your horizontal and vertical lines and put them together. So the vertical line down and the horizontal line across. And then from that, you would enter into the square. So again, you're taking those same lines, horizontal and vertical, to put it together to make the square. Now the harder lines start to come between 4.5 and then as you're starting to enter 5. So 4.5, you're starting to make the diagonal lines. So these ones can be the harder ones to get. You're going this way and you're also going this way to eventually form the triangle. Triangle is normally about 5.5 to 6. That one's like the latest shape because it's also the hardest. So it's trying to put all those shapes together. And again, you could work on just copying the triangle. You could trace it, start with tracing, then copying, and then progress to imitating. And again, these are all just guidelines. You can see where your child at, what is they working on, and work with them at home. It's all up to you. Leave your favorite ways to color below, and don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe.